Dr. Martin Olu. My name is Linda Lela. Of course, we continue with the broadcast. The gentleman who began the ODM party, and we get to hear some of, the undertones of perhaps what it is that the ODM members are saying. Those ones are equally members of the broad-based government. Do you suppose that the Raila men are at crossroads? That is on the question of loyalty to the Kenya Kwanza government. Because sometimes you say it's actually difficult to defend. Government is undefendable, an English word, Dictari.
I think so.
That it is undefendable and you're struggling to defend and it becomes a big problem. Or is it that the Right Honourable Raila Odinga is an enemy within?
I really don't think so. Mm-hmm. We have a party called ODM that has decided to go to bed with another party called UDA. Mm. Is it 100% of ODM that has gone there? No. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. But the party leader is there, and so is the other party leader of UDA. Mm-hmm. Are they having 100% command of those who are behind them? Maybe, maybe not. I have seen very reasonable people, people that I had not imagined that when they cross over to the other side, they will lose their logic and their basic arguments. But I've seen them go that side and they are more zealous than even some of the people who are in UDA. Okay. That is also true. But I've also seen people in ODM that were originally there that are very guarded about this new development. Mm-hmm. And we've had them express different views and so on. But one thing that we've seen which is common is that this idea of ideology, or this idea of ideologues, mm-hmm. seems to be something that we can talk about elsewhere, but not necessarily in this country. It appears that in this country, the line is very thin, that anyone liberated today can be a hero tomorrow. There are people, for example, who will say everything else about the previous, I'm saying the previous Kenya Kwanza government because I don't want to say more there. But there were people there who are more of zealots, defending it. Today, they are on the other side fighting it or having issues with it. And you would ask, is it really an ideology? Is it really an issue that has emanated, or is it personality differences? Mm-hmm. So one of the things we want to submit in our politics is that sometimes it's not the ideology or the ideas we have, it's the opportunities that we may not have. Okay. So that once we are given the opportunity, we see you behaving like everybody else. Okay. I respect somebody like the Secretary General of ODM because he stands up and he says things that you would expect that would be against the grain. And I think that's honorable. Okay. Let him maintain that voice. Even if he's still there and he's not agreeing, let him speak it out. Mm-hmm. At least we'll know that it's not 100% of everybody in it that is going that route. Mm-hmm. That said, we have, of course, lost the direction. We don't understand where BAMBA is sitting and whether he's inside, he's outside. Sometimes he says this, says that. That is going to be a defining moment for him and the ODM party going into the future. Certainly, what Kenyans are saying is what Baraka is, that there is a generational shift. There is a generational convergence around what is good for us and what's not good for us. Mm-hmm. And when that convergence happens and it becomes a groundswell, there are many people that we know today that will fall off.
Okay, I don't know whether we get to see these differences that you talk about in ideology and position reflected in Parliament, because that's the biggest problem that we're having today, that perhaps if anything goes and is an endorsement of the broad-based government, perhaps there's no one who's going to challenge it. Maybe those ones that are now allies of the former Deputy President. And speaking of opportunity, the former Deputy President got this opportunity. Dr. Barak, let's listen into what he says briefly, and then we come back to you, weigh in on this as well as to his utterances.
When he went to Western Kenya, he said he got rid of me because I was incompetent and tribal. He never told the people of Western Kenya asking for 10 billion. When he went to Northeastern Kenya, he said he got rid of me because I'm divisive and I don't like the unity of the country. When he went to Nyanza, he said that I am primitive, and corrupt. When he came to the mountain, He never said I'm tribal because he cannot say that. He never said I'm incompetent because he cannot do that.
Okay.
He said that I was asking for 10 billion. In fact, on Thursday morning, he met Madeira women dancers. There is a group of 1,000 women that I put together to dance for Uhuru Kenyatta, and then I handed them out to William Ruto. Most of them are friends of my late mother. Others are women who have educated their children from Form 1 up to university. My friends. He met them and told them, huyu Rigathi wenu alikuwa anaitisha mimi bilioni 10. Na nikaona kuliko kule peke yake, nimfukuse hii pesa nikawe na nyinyi nyote. So leo mtakula hii pesa ningepatia Rigathi. Those women, he gave them each 8,000 shillings. That is 8 million shillings. And he gave another 2 million shillings towards the funeral of their cheerleader who has died. And the women called me and said, this man is a liar. Because we know you. During the 2022 elections, Roger, William Ruto picked me as running mate because of my mobilization skills and my capacity to mobilize the resources. Everybody knows I'm not a poor man. I was in a lot of trouble with the fourth administration because of funding William Ruto. The fourth administration froze my accounts so that I stopped funding William Ruto. The fourth administration blocked all my businesses so that I stopped giving money to William Ruto. I put serious money into his campaign.
I just wanted us to remind ourselves of that moment of that, talk. And Dr. I'm sure you're conversant with what really Rigathi Gachagua had to say. Damning revelations or perhaps allegations, if you'd want to look at them. And Justin Biden Muturi, we talked about the last time you were here, and we asked why is it that the president has not had the stamina to get him off office, which he did eventually. And we also have witnessed him coming out with, lots of allegations or perhaps revelations, if you'd want to call them. And he says, the two of them actually say that the president is a pathological liar. Go ahead to say that he's a corrupt, fella. And we look at these allegations and we ask ourselves as a country, how do we treat them? Do we just let them slide and imagine that really that these are just jilted lovers or perhaps wounded lions?
The discourse, if it's a discourse,
at all,
is very banal. It's completely gone south, as the expression is nowadays. That these are people who are dragging each other through murky waters, through the mud. And yet they are touching on very fundamental issues.
Right.
They have touched upon the integrity of the head of state and the government. They have touched on his lack of trust. In fact, not just that he doesn't trust people, but he's untrustworthy himself. And they have, in fact, touched on his mental suitability to lead the country. Justin Biden Muturi is a lawyer of repute, very well learned, very seasoned, well practiced, and he knows the law, he knows the meaning and value of words within the legal context.
Yeah.
That when he says that William Ruto is a double personality, a split personality, and he goes on to give the rider, I don't think William Ruto is fit to occupy the office of President of Kenya. He's making a very fundamental statement to be considered in the context of Article 144 of the Constitution of Kenya, which talks about removing the president from office on account of physical and mental incapacity to occupy that office. The Constitution has contemplated these divagations from the path that the president is accused of exhibiting. And so if he is indeed considered by these gentlemen to be mentally, for example, unsuitable for office, then what they should be doing is going beyond invective, going beyond lamentation, generating processes that should seek to have him investigated, because nothing stops us from investigating his suitability for office under Article 144 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010.
The first and perhaps the most, would want to say appropriate level to begin with would be the National Assembly. And what we see in the National Assembly today.
That would also be considered to be part of the problem. And of course the numbers, and the lawyer is here, he can correct me where I am wrong. The numbers for removal of a president on grounds of physical and mental incapacity or unsuitability are different from Article 145 that talks about impeachment, and which would be a process that resides in the Senate, and this other one resides in the National Assembly. And for a start, you need one member of the National Assembly supported by at least a quarter of the entire population in the National Assembly. So let's talk about 290 constituencies. If you want, you can add on the nominated ones. But let me stay there for the time being. 290. A quarter of that would be 70-something, 72, 73, thereabout. They can move the motion. And if that motion is then debated in the House, what you require to make progress, further progress, is a simple majority, which would be about 46, 47 members. And after that, it moves to the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, together with the Kenya Medical Association, to appoint 3 doctors, the LSK to appoint one person, and the president himself to appoint another person, 5 people to sit on a tribunal to determine whether the man is suitable or not. And of course the process would then be brought back to the House. If the 5 people in the tribunal have said, no, Mr. Gachagua and Mr. Muturi and all these members, they were wrong, then he continues to be president. But if they say, yes, I think this person is, we think this person is unsuitable, then it's put to vote. And once again, it's a simple majority. So let's not have too much noise, invective, people abusing, trading accusations, recriminations, counter accusations. Why don't we test the Constitution? In fact, this Constitution has been tested in all ways. We have nullified a presidential election. We have impeached governors. We have impeached a deputy president. The only thing we haven't attempted is to remove the president. Impeachment is at another step. Let us try this one of unsuitability under Article 144.
Which would be easier. And you know, he's talked about the physical and mental capacity. We've not even talked about the question of integrity. But that aside, perhaps maybe they say Ruto must go where? Why don't we just wait until 2027 as opposed to trying and testing the...
You see, what my friend here is saying is a very good thing, but it will not work here. First of all, you are saying that somebody who is sick should also appoint somebody.
Or his family. They say also his family.
The problem you're dealing with is that somebody who is unwell, mentally unwell, cannot have capacity to appoint somebody else. Okay. So that is a provision that is a cropper. It goes
but Daktari, the law, the constitution says, or his family.
Or his family.
And then they say if his family doesn't, then they say his relative.
Yeah, but let me now tell you why.
Relative is not family. Okay, interesting. Okay.
Why it will not happen? Okay. First of all, in Kenya as in Africa, the kings or the presidents are kings, and that they say they do no wrong and they are never insane. They are always they are always present. So you have a situation where in Africa, even if you are completely senile, you are still going to be asked to give an opinion.
Right.
And somebody has said that even fools get old. So even if you you have no
dealing
opinion,
with old fools, eh?
you will hardly be able. So this, our situation is difficult. That constitutional provision, or even the one of impeachment, if you are a sitting president and you are endowed or you have a capacity the way we now have, there is no way you can lose an impeachment motion. There's no way you can be sanctioned for even any reason, because you have a capacity to mobilize your machinery around it.
Yeah.
So let's not even go that route. The issue of must go, that's a conversation that we must keep having. The only thing that I've argued elsewhere is that we don't have to look for shortcuts. This is a bed that we made for ourselves. We must sleep in it. Even if there are thorns, you know, they say it's not a bed of roses. But imagine a bed of roses comes with thorns.
Yeah.
So this is a bed of roses that has thorns that we must sleep in. And it must pinch us well enough. Perchance we will be wise to listen to party honjos like him. When they give us different candidates, we might listen. But for now,
until 2027.
You know,
look at what my good friend Rigathi is saying, that, you know, he funded this man, and for sure, Rigathi did not get this thing because of anything else. It is the resources he brought on the table.
And it was only fair that he gets
and that's why he got
money
number
back.
two. That's why, for example, the current deputy president was not considered, though he was a favorite of MPs. But what did he bring on the table that made him be selected?
Okay.
He has told us himself.
All right.
Of course, the other side has not denied it. What we are saying is that these are issues we should come to terms with. We live in a country where competence, merit are not the consideration for office.
Okay.
It is your ability to swing, to bribe, to use money, and to corrupt the system. Why are we saying? There's a cabinet secretary that told us that the way we were going, every drug peddler and everybody else who is capable of what would make it to parliament. Unfortunately, we got there. So we are not electing people on account of integrity. Forget it. No. That's not one of the factors. We are not telling people that you made it and that's why you're coming here. Absolutely no.
Okay.
So what kind of characters do we have in leadership? People who want to protect themselves of something. You have a court case, you want to be elected. You have a mega scandal, you want to be elected. You don't have a scandal like this brother of mine, don't waste our time. Don't waste our time. We are not likely to listen to you. In fact, we will ask you why you have not.
I have to keep on hoping and dreaming.
Right.
And remain to the very end the ultimate romantic idealist. That admit mistakes will be made, that I will even make those mistakes myself, and that I should not punish myself too hard and remain in that space where I'm saying I've made this bed and the bed sheets that I put there had not dried properly. There's a kind of still wet, but I must lie in the bed. No, I have to remove those bed sheets in the middle of the night and look for something more comfortable. If I have even to lie on a mattress on the floor, so be it. You know, I used to be a sports captain in school some years back, and I could feel that team.
And that's why sports remained in schools.
No. We have got to be sportsmen even in politics. We've got to keep on aspiring and hoping and dreaming. Because if we stop that, then the only alternative left for us is to use other means.
Okay.
We are being told that now we should move into the space where we say the institutions we have placed there cannot work, that they are for dreamers of dreams.
Okay.
And those dreams cannot be realized. And since the dreams cannot be realized, then let us say by any means possible. The romantic idealists like ourselves here are still trying to convince us that we can use the laid out constitutional path. We do not have to get to Emilio Zapata's space where he says with Malcolm X and with the Che Guevara, by any means possible. We have not yet gotten there. And so if the captain of the team is the one who is messing up the game, let him be substituted. Even as the game continues, let us place the armband on someone else.
All right.
Yeah?
When
he was growing up,
starts even raiding players from the other team.
When he was growing up and he knows it, and there was that football made of all sorts of material. When you are playing it, and you are the owner of the thing, if they stop you pick the ball and run away.
All right,
so the game is over.
So we must move from there, where people like Martin Olo, when you scored and because the ball was his, he would pick it up and say, now the match is over.
Okay. And you know, the captain has spoken. Let us see what he has to say in relation to, of course, the drama that has played out for the better part of the week. And we see whether he's going to help us ebb away the echoes. What did the president say?
We must equally protect all our children from pedophiles, from drug peddlers, and from those who want to corrupt our children and teach them to hate their parents or their teachers or their leaders or their nation. We must protect our children from those ones. But we must give all our children the best opportunity to be what they can be.
But we can see there is a lot of purpose that people are there to amass for themselves at the expense of those who have nothing. And what we are seeing in that play, which was rejected, which was supposed to be the generation gap, we can also say we have a big gap between the haves and the have-nots in this country. If we are not going to address it, then we have not addressed anything in our nation. So bringing the nation together is listening to generative themes from everyday life and ask ourselves questions. How do we answer them, not how do we crush those voices?
All right. 2 minutes for us to...
That's my Archbishop.
The Archbishop has said it.
That is your... Okay.
And fortunately, he has answered the president. You see, who is he talking about? He's talking of the immediate former Secretary General of UDA. Surely, if this is a pedophile, if this is a corrupt fellow, then what are we saying about the UDA? And so sometimes the things that we hear must be interrogated. When the president is telling us that he wants to protect children, we are saying...
Which children?
Yeah, which children?
Because, Martin, in Form 4, even those days when we went through A-level, I would be offended to be referred to as a kid.
Okay.
The way we keep on talking about these young adults as kids. A person who is in Form 4 today is a heartbeat away from the university.
And from the votes, maybe.
And the one who is not a heartbeat away from the university because they may not make the grades or they may not have the wherewithal to go there is a heartbeat away from the real world, the school of hard knocks. We should stop patronizing these young adults and calling them kids, our kids, our kids.
And so, let me finish my train of thought. I have argued that children have rights under the Constitution of Kenya 2010.
Children are my generation alpha.
Okay.
Yes.
Grandkids.
Yes, and children.
And they are very bright.
And these children ought to be protected from violence, from tear gas, from being denied the opportunity
from lies
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, they are growing into adults. They will vote tomorrow, and so we just need them to express themselves. So my view is that I do not hear what they are saying.
Okay.
I would rather hear what the children, those school drama,
those young people.
Okay.
And then without losing our argument here, playwriters, drama, creative arts is about presenting society with a mirror.
Okay.
If you don't like the image you are seeing in the mirror, do not break the mirror.
Interesting.
And dress yourself.
All right. Dr. as we close it.
Yeah, I think he has put it. I would only add a footnote that you can see they wanted to stop this drama, but they opened up the drama. The play or the drama that should have been restricted on the stage in a school in Nakuru played out on the wider national stage. And it's going to continue playing for a very long time to come.
Okay.
And the bad news for the people who are privileged to exercise power today is that they are dealing with a new generation. In fact, when we start talking about things like children, we need to reassess the notion of the child in terms of exposure to knowledge and ability to use that knowledge to determine their space and their rights. And there are people who are real children, age 4, 5, 6 today, who are so exposed, they know their rights. They will tell you, no, Mom, let's reason together.
Yeah.
Let us talk about this. You know, those old days when I was growing up and Kiboko did everything.
Okay.
Finally, people in government must remember every day that we now have an adult generation that grew up without the cane. That we had outlawed the cane in school, at home, and everywhere else.
Yeah.
And they are used to reasoning. Reason with us.
So not even the tear gas would work.
Mr. President, hiyo unajaribu ni ya siku zile zilipita.
Well, it seems like the echoes continue, gentlemen. All right, of course, Dr. Barak Muluka, Dr. Martin Olo, thank you so much, gentlemen, for brazing the cold and as well being here.
And the rain.
And the rain, you know, asanteni sana. This is for the nation.
You must.
We are statesmen, aren't we?
And your colors.
And women. And
Good, so.
we have to close it at this very point, and I look forward to host you some other time. Asanteni sana. And you back at home, immense feedback, but time will not allow us to go through that, but we appreciate you. How about we get to see you again tomorrow morning as we continue the echoes. My name is Linda Alela. It was great having you. Do have yourself a lovely night ahead. Appreciation to the entire team for making the broadcast a success. Bye-bye.